Well, this game just slapped me in the face of awesomeness, and I honestly got to admit, since the original Yakuza game, what I played way back in 2005, maybe 6, since then I completely forgot about this series until I picked it up and started to play it, and I was like, this is a bit familiar. Then I realised that the franchise kept on going, and now after completing this, I've got to play all the other games now. And I've got to say to the creators that you took my social life away from me. Well, for a while. And to this day, I still don't know how to pronounce this title as Yakuza or Yakuza. The game is a 3D beat-em-up brawler, what is a prequel to the franchise that is set in the late 1980s. Yakuza 0 is a weird game, there's no doubt about that. There's a lot of goofy and weird and odd shit in this title, what made me laugh at times. And it don't skip out on the story either. The story is a pretty serious one. There's minutes where I couldn't stop laughing at it, and then the next minute it almost made me cry. At that certain part of the campaign where it got really intense. For the campaign, without spoiling it, it all revolves around this empty lot and the powers struggle to try and claim ownership of it. I'm not going to go into too much depth here where I think it'd be a massive spoiler. However, I can say that it does have a great storyline of betrayal, revenge, and how far you would go for someone. It does take a bit of time for the game to get going. I didn't feel like the game was getting going until at least chapter 5, but I'm glad that I stuck with it because it was so brilliant with the story. You play as two protagonists, Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Mojima. Hopefully I pronounced that right because that is a bit of a tongue tie for me. Well, you alternate between the two of them throughout the campaign. What sort of meets up at the end, I thought both characters were well thought out, they were interesting, except I got to admit, I did favour Mojima over Kiryu. Each character has their own fighting style to make them feel unique to each other with their personality trait. For the controls, they're pretty easy to get used to, and the game does do an excellent job introducing these new fighting moves to you. I didn't feel overwhelmed by it at all, and I found it pretty easy to jump into, and the fighting techniques that it teaches you, yeah, I can see some players button mashing this and getting away with it and still have fun with it. You can switch fighting styles in the drop of a hat. The game does teach you these within good time, and it don't give you access to them all at once. It does take time to find the one that you favoured the most with each character. And there's this heat meter for your special attacks, and fuck, they are brutal, and there's no holding back here or concernership or anything like that. It's full on hardcore. There are quick time events what add to the cutscenes, yet these scenes may only last a couple of seconds to change things up while you're fighting to keep you on your toes. And the side quests are not a bore. I actually enjoyed playing these side quests. They're well thought out. It's not like go here, get this thing, return. You get dance side quests. To get this kiddie's video game back and how that one ended, I was surprised. However, they do make it seem like every side quest is outstanding adventure. Like, find a payphone. You gotta love it. The side missions are so inventive, at one point I just couldn't stop giggling when it introduced these two into the mist. And at that point the game just had me, and I would say it's worth a playthrough just to get this side mission. When I thought that I got this game figured out and all the side missions, what they were all going to be about, and then it threw a curveball and I'm delivering a pizza. I just liked the way it kept on throwing new stuff at me all the time. You could tell that the developers had fun with that one, on how much of a variety of some of these missions are. and the payphones you can save and store items as well. Oh, now I've got to calm down a bit. There are mini games like the Claw and the old arcade Sega titles to gambling to adult version of rock paper scissors. Well, this definitely made rock paper scissors a lot more interesting, but this does feel familiar to an old Sega title. To singing, and I've got to say that I like the music video in the background when you're doing good. It's kind of hard to play this minigame and keep a straight face while paying attention to the video, and the dancing minigame was addictive. And there's also a fishing one to top it off. There is so much more than the ones that I've listed here what you can do, and now we get onto the business minigame where Kiryu has his real estate business and facing the 5 billionaires in a sort of turf war. And Mojima's business has sort of got the same sort of thing of facing the 5, and that's where the similarities end, with a different coat of paint and a completely different minigame. And this minigame is actually pretty good. Everything in this game has to make a big impact no matter what you are doing, to the point that it does go over the top, but in a good way. Yet it shows that they had really a lot of fun of making this game, and it does show it. If you're into your collectibles, there's these cars that I've hidden throughout the city for you to find. Now these are not simple just plain cars. What you find, you do get video clips what are joined to them. If you go to a certain store, at this point, I just couldn't stop laughing and I was gasping for air when I found this out about the cards. There is a bit of a downfall. Be prepared to read a lot, and I do mean a lot. If you don't speak the language, where this game is story intensive, that you do need to read all of this to know what's going on. And yes, I would like to see an English dub over as an option where you can switch between the two in the future. The inventory system is also easy to navigate your stored items and so on, and I like the levelling up system. It's colourful with its purple and red and blue lights, and I felt like it was simple to use, spending money that you earn in the game to get a perk. And there are other upgrades, what are called CP points, what you get through outside activities and fights. There are more like extra stuff what you can spend on at a certain store to throw on that little icing on the cake. The level design are these two small maps as you switch between the two protagonists. Yes, these are small maps, but these are so compact, full of content, that it can really draw you in for hours on end. Yeah, there are invisible walls in the city, and you do get stuck on objects from time to time, and this can be annoyingly frustrating and laughable other times. I really can't make up my mind on that one. I thought that the cutscenes looked decent, especially on the textures on the characters' faces. You can see their pores and every little details about them. For the characters, there are so many rememberable characters that there are too many to name. They're really well done, and each one leaves a significant impression on me with their personality. For the voice acting, I can't really comment on that, where it's all in Japanese. If you speak the language, please leave it in the comments below if it's good or bad, but I did hear that it is pretty good. For the graphics, they are a bit of a miss and match. Some of it looks outstanding, mainly on the people, and some textures around the city, well, they look straight out of a PS2 title. It's a bit of an odd combination. For the soundtrack, it is nicely done, and it does get you pumped and in the mood for a fight when it's about to happen. For how long the game is, I clocked on 47 hours, and I could easily spend more time in this world where it kept on getting me sidetracked. So yeah, I think it's a pretty decent length. So in the end, I think that I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, and I would definitely recommend it. I found this game very addictive with all the side activities that you can do. So have you played Yakuza 0? What do you think of it? Leave it in the comments below. Until next game, I'm fucking off. The amount of times it says nanny on this, you can start a drinking game. It does do a recap between two characters, so you never lost on where you are, which I thought was a really good idea. There's also this fun, cool mini game. Well, that's the best way I can put it. Like when you actually go out on dates, some of them did make me laugh. I thought it was a laugh at one point when Mojino was acting like an overprotective parent on the business side mission. I won't go into spoilers here, but yeah. You can also invest in some of the stores that you buy to add in more money for your income.